Sorry, there's no party. But here's the story. Jesus is invited to a dinner party at a nice, respectable man's house. And a woman comes in, a slut. And she doesn't obey the rules. She wasn't invited, but she makes a beeline for Jesus. And Jesus embraces her. Jesus says, "You're welcome here with me." And the people around him think, "I don't know about this." But Jesus even commends her and says, "What you've done is right and good," and says something very important about you. So here's the thing. This idea of crashing a party, which this woman does, that's what Dallas Willard thinks that setting aside proprieties means. That's what we were talking about in the last section, this idea that proprieties are no longer necessary. It's the same, Dallas Willard thinks, as what Jesus was talking about in his kind of strange statement that the kingdom of God is subjected to violence, and the violent take it by force. It means that people can now crash God's party, and that's okay. Jesus says it's okay, and God says that's okay. Now that is the remarkable change, the radical change that Jesus brought about. Hey everybody, welcome to the Sanctus Forum. I am Michael Stewart Robb, better known as Mike, and this is the Conspiracy Commentaries. We don't have a party going on. Sorry about that. We are talking about The Divine Conspiracy, this book by Dallas Willard. We're talking through it section by section. You're reading it at home or wherever you are, wherever you read. And I do hope that you're reading it with a pen, a marker. This is not the kind of book like a top 10 bestseller book that you just sort of read and don't have to really work with it, think about it. This time I'm using a notebook, but I do tend to sort of make notes in books like this because it's kind of difficult. Thanks too for everybody who's shown up again. Thanks for liking these videos. Like them with your finger, and subscribe if you haven't to the video channel. So I don't have a lot to say about this section, A Harlot Crashes the Party. It's sort of an illustration of what Dallas Willard was talking about in the previous section, Proprieties Aside, which is a very important section in this whole chapter, and very important to get his idea of what Jesus was doing, what he was doing with the kingdom of God. I just want to talk about this phrase that comes up at the end. Where is it? Let me find it. Your faith has saved you. That's what Jesus says to this woman in the story. Your faith has saved you. And faith is one of these words that I think if you're new to Dallas Willard, you might want to underline it, circle it every time you come up to it, because he means something different than what most people mean. And we're going to talk about that a little bit here. You'll see here what he says. This is kind of, for me, the second to last paragraph. He says, "The woman saw Jesus and recognized who he was and who dwelt in him." So the idea of faith for Dallas Willard is not, it's not accepting the teachings of a religion or of some religious leader or whatever. That's not what faith is. Faith for Willard is seeing the invisible action of God, right? That's faith for Willard. So this woman saw Jesus, so she sees that there's something special going on with Jesus, and that God is with him. She says she recognized who he was and who dwelt in him. So that's the invisible action of God. Now remember, action of God is how Dallas Willard is going to explain the kingdom of God, the rule of God. That's God acting. That's the action of God. So what she's seeing is, in other words, the kingdom of God. All right? So that's the first part of faith. Second part of faith is acting upon it. Faith always sort of comes with action. Not that you have to be doing it, but you're ready to act upon it. And that's what this woman does. And this is where Dallas Willard and Jesus recognize the faith that this woman has, because of what she sees in Jesus, she's ready to just crash into a party where she really doesn't belong, where she wasn't invited, in order to get access to Jesus. And that action is an expression of her faith, an expression of what she actually saw and knew Jesus to be. That's faith. So, why has her faith saved her? Well, Dallas Willard, and I don't know that he says it here, but in other words, her faith puts her in touch with reality. In this case, with the invisible reality of God, with the action of God, and it puts her in contact with Jesus and with God. And from there, then other things can happen. Let me know what you think about Dallas Willard's understanding of faith. Let me know if you've actually seen that in other things that he's written or spoken. You can talk about that in the comments or send an email to info@Sanctus Institute. Let me get this right. info@Sanctus.Institute. And otherwise, if you have questions about this book, perhaps you've read it already or are reading ahead, you can send those also to that email address and head over to our website, Sanctus.Institute, and sign up for our almost monthly newsletter. But hey, thanks for showing up, and I will see you next time.